And now, a podcast bonus.
Alright, podcast update, our first one. So since we recorded the Verity episode, Colleen Hoover released a new edition of Verity with a gold cover, and it had a bonus chapter in it. So Jess and I have read the bonus chapter, and we thought we would discuss it just as a little update to our previous episode. So, Jess, tell me your thoughts.
These people need therapy. Intensive therapy. Every single one of them.
Oh my goodness. All I could think was like, she just needs to get out of there. She needs to like forget about Verity. She needs to forget about all of them. Take your kid and run.
We saw how well that worked for Verity.
True.
Like, it's toxic. Every single part of it is toxic. Like, Lowen spends, like, the entire first half of the chapter comparing herself to Verity. Like, everything.
Yeah.
Like, to the point of the bedtime routines of her and Jeremy. Like, oh, yes, and then he rolls over and turns off the light and checks his phone to make sure it's plugged in. I wonder if he did that with Verity. Should I feel sad because he did it with Verity, or should I feel happy because he didn't do it with Verity? Like, come on, woman, grow up.
Yeah, that's why I say.
Sorry.
No, she needs to get out of there, because it's not like, I feel like she could be a normal person outside of that.
I don't think she was ever going to be normal without intensive therapy and some serious medication.
Okay, but more normal.
Less toxic.
Yes, if she could get out of that family. And, yeah. And then the constant fear that your husband's going to kill you. Like,
it's the whole, he killed one wife, know of.
Yeah.
To be fair, she egged him on.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
She's not exactly innocent in that regard.
No, that's
either.
true. She basically told him how, right?
Yeah, giving him tips. Here's some tips and tricks.
So, yeah. There's almost no words.
There almost isn't. Lowen starts off the chapter talking about how she doesn't understand how Verity could talk that way about her kids in the manuscript after Lowen's had Nova, their kid. Like her and Jeremy's kid. She doesn't understand how a person could even think about hurting their kids, whether it be a writing exercise or not. And basically, she has reached the conclusion she doesn't care if the manuscript is true or not, or if the letter is real or not. I mean, the letter is real, but if the contents of the letter are true or not. Which feels like a bit of a cop-out.
Yeah.
Like, if you're putting in an extra chapter and you're going through all the effort of releasing a bonus edition with a gold cover, I want a resolution, darn it.
That's the thing. I was really hoping, like, that she would explain, is the manuscript the truth, or is the letter the truth, or is neither the truth, or, like, there was really no point.
No, there wasn't.
To this extra chapter. Just, it was sort of like, often when I read a book, and, you get to the happily ever after part, I want to know what happens after the happily ever after.
Yeah, give me 20 years down the road. Have they decided to hate each other now?
And this was sort of what happens after, but it was in a way that was just, it was not interesting. And
to clarify, it takes place a year after Verity dies.
Yeah. So the baby is 3 months old, and I don't know, like...
Every single decision Lowen makes is wrapped up in whether or not Verity did it.
Yeah.
She decided to breastfeed Nova because Verity didn't breastfeed the twins.
Yeah.
Seriously? Make your own bloody decisions.
I know.
Stop basing everything you do off this woman.
Yep. But yeah, I was just hoping for a little bit more resolution than what I got.
And accountability and consequences.
Yeah. That too.
That would be lovely.
But no, when the accountability person comes along...
The accountability person. An accountant.
She gets offed.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. In one chapter, they do manage to murder another person.
Yeah. And...
spoilers for the record.
Yeah.
It's Patricia, the, neighbor, or...
She lived in their neighborhood.
Something. They met her in the grocery store in the first book, rest of the book.
In the original book.
Yeah. Like, she's very much a nothing character.
Yeah.
And she comes along when they're at the beach and basically goes, hey, I know you. And does the math and realizes that Nova had to be conceived when Verity was still alive, if just barely. Mm-hmm. Enough anyway that the timing is suspicious. And as a result, Jeremy decides that it would be a good idea to drown her in the ocean.
Because she might tell somebody.
Which is a crazy over-response. Like, way overreaction. Like, whoop-de-ding.
Mm-hmm.
So people might realize that the author that you hired is someone you had a relationship with while your invalid wife was still alive.
Yes.
Not the most scandalous thing to ever happen. Is it the best thing to ever happen? No, definitely not. But from an outsider's perspective, it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of sad, and, not the right thing, but we can kind of understand why he did it. At no point does that point to murder.
No.
Your invalid wife from a car accident, like, there could be any number of complications with that. She could have died of natural causes. Nobody would know the difference. But to then kill this woman because, she found out that Nova was conceived before Verity died. Really?
Yeah.
That is unnecessary.
I know. But I think, though, I can't say for sure because I've never killed anybody, but I wonder if...
You heard it here first.
I wonder if when you do kill somebody, you're constantly living in fear that you will get discovered. And maybe that sort of impacts all of your actions because that's just always in the back of your mind. Like, oh, she's going to see this. They're going to be suspicious because, first of all, she was conceived before my first wife was dead. Mm-hmm. And then we ran away. I think, too, the running away part of it.
The running away part's more suspicious.
But
still not inconceivable that Jeremy would want to leave a place where his wife and 2 of his kids died.
Yeah. No,
change of atmosphere, change of pace is not unusual in that kind of circumstances.
Yeah. No, and that all makes sense. And from an outsider's perspective, yeah, of course, you probably wouldn't be suspicious. But I think, like I say, with no prior experience, there must be a sense of guilt or fear.
I don't know with Jeremy.
Maybe not.
He's at the very least a sociopath, if not a psychopath. We all know turtle killing, wife killing. It escalates,
Yes.
But
true.
That, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I don't know. I still think that, this is not the first time he's tried to kill or killed.
True.
He comes to that decision very, very quickly.
Yeah, that was the other thing that shocked me.
He sees her, goes, hi, how's it going? And then tells Verity to pack up the kids in the car, make sure they take absolutely everything with them, including, any evidence, and then proceeds to drown this woman in the surf within, 5 minutes.
And he knows exactly what to do.
Yeah.
To the point where he takes off his shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
he is overprepared.
So it almost makes you wonder what happened before Verity.
That's the thing.
I sense a prequel.
Yes. See, I knew from the beginning that he was weird.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
I don't trust the nice people.
There was something sketchy about him from the start.
Yeah.
But, my thoughts are if you are wanting to buy a copy of the book, go ahead. Don't just buy it for the extra chapter.
Don't buy it for the extra chapter.
I wouldn't. It's not worth it.
No.
As far as I'm concerned. Anyways, it was just more of the same.
Yeah.
Of the book. And it didn't, wrap anything up or... I was left with more questions than answers.
Yep. And a growing sense of frustration.
Yes, that too.
That's the thing. And the whole crew thing. Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Crew takes Nova out of her crib and leaves her outside, while Jeremy and Lowen are otherwise occupied, because she was crying and he couldn't hear the TV. So he picked her up, took her outside, and left her on the lawn. And now Lowen is freaking out because she thinks that Crew is going to be a serial killer like his father. And he's not a serial killer yet. He hasn't hit 3, but still.
Yeah.
Let's
he's
assume
getting there.
He's a little bit too efficient.
Yeah.
To not have done it before. So she's losing her mind. And on the one hand, I get it. Your kid took your other kid and stranded them outside.
Yeah.
However, that does not necessarily mean he's a serial killer.
No.
And Lowen mentioned one of the things Crew said before, right before Nova was born. She asked him if he was excited for his baby sister or something like that. And he basically said, what's the point? She's gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
And she was horribly offended by this. And this child has got problems and... Yeah.
He's had a lot of trauma in his life.
He's had 2 sisters die and his mother die. He's 6 years old.
Yeah.
It's not unthinkable that he wouldn't want to get attached to a new sibling, having seen the route the other 2 went.
Exactly.
I would argue that's a fairly normal response.
Yeah.
From a kid that's seen as much trauma as he has.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind, he hasn't exactly been raised by normal people to begin with.
Exactly. But, like, I know before we read this chapter, and you had read some of the comments, and everybody was like, oh, Crew. Like, I was expecting some big thing with Crew. And
Smothering in the crib at the very least.
Like, I expected her to be dead. Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. And it was like, okay, put her outside. That's not great. Not great at all. But...
Not great at all, but at the same time, like, that's practically nothing.
There are much worse things he could have done.
Much worse.
I was expecting a lot worse. When you take into account all the trauma this kid has gone through, the nutty parents, I mean, you have to expect a little bit of...
odd behavior.
Yeah.
Not saying you shouldn't do anything about it. By all means, get the kid in counseling, like, now.
Yeah. I mean, that kid should have been in counseling ages ago.
I'd argue that kid should be living with other people.
Yes.
Both of his parents are murderers. Like, no, I am not a fan of this book. I'll put it that way.
It's
trauma for the sake of trauma.
Yeah.
And with no... Like, they're just horrible people. That's all. They're horrible people.
There's no redeeming qualities about any of them,
no,
really.
No, I'm to the point where if this was a real family, A, put them all in jail, and B, take Nova away while she still has a chance at a normal life.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have to say the book is well written. Colleen Hoover is a good writer.
Yes, that is true. She's a good writer that she makes me care enough to hate these people.
Well, and the pacing was really good, and it was not a hard book to read at all. It's just the characters are so
unlikable.
You just want to kick them in the shins. Oh, sorry.
It's fun. I advocated for removing all of their children and getting them, in prison, so I think kicking them in the shins is fairly minor.
That's true. And kicking somebody in the shins hurts more for the kicker than the kicky. True. I've done it, so...
Not a murderer, but a shin kicker.
If you're going to kick somebody in the shins, put on a steel-toed boot first.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. No. I would say the extra chapter is not worth buying the book.
No.
Other than another murder. There's nothing there. There's no big astounding revelations or big reveals that weren't already basically told at the end of the other book.
Yeah.
We still don't know whether the manuscript or the letter is real. Jeremy is still a horrible, weird human being. Lowen is still a horrible, weird human being. Crew is still a damaged kid that desperately needs help. And the baby is still the baby.
Yeah. Poor innocent baby.
Oh, I feel bad for that kid.
Yeah. So yeah, if this book had been out when I bought my copy, I probably would have bought this version.
Oh yeah, if you're looking at buying it anyway.
Yep. For sure buy it, but
don't go out and buy it just for the extra copy. No. Just stand in the bookstore and read the chapter.
Yeah, that's what you read that people were doing, right?
Yeah.
So, it is 37 pages, though, so make sure you have some time.
Yeah.
It's not a 10-page
it's not
little
a
thing.
Quick chapter by any means.
No, as you can tell, a lot happened in that last chapter. Bonus chapter.
Although you can murder somebody in 5 minutes or less.
True. I'm not going to ask.
What?
How you know you can murder somebody in 5... You said that with such authority.
I should probably state I have not murdered anybody either. For the record.
I mean, it should go without saying, but...
It should.
Just the way you said it. You just said it with such authority.
It took Jeremy less than 5 minutes to go, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And then he went and drowned her in the surf.
Yep.
And her poor dog was left running around on the beach.
Yes.
Oh, this book makes me mad.
See? It got some emotion out of you.
Yeah, it did. It's a good book in that respect.
You can't knock the writing. And she's popular for a reason.
Yeah.
Obviously. So, just because we didn't like this book, I know lots of people do.
Yeah. So, lots of people do. And if this kind of constant trauma drama written by a llama in a pajama is your cup of tea, then yeah, you're going to enjoy this book.
Yep.
I prefer, if I'm reading a book about the villain, I prefer the villain be a bit more entertaining as opposed to whiny. And if the book is not about the villain, I prefer that they get some kind of comeuppance at the end, some kind of prison sentence or padded room or cocktail of drugs to make them a normal human.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, basic takeaway is the extra chapter is not worth buying another copy of the book.
No.
you're already planning on buying a copy of the book, yeah, get the one with the extra chapter. But it's more of the same. Lowen's whining about Verity.
Yeah.
Jeremy goes and kills random people.
Crew acts weird.
Crew acts weird. I will say no sea turtles were harmed, or no turtles were harmed in the making of the last chapter, apparently.
Yeah,
so.
there was no turtles involved at all. So we know they're all safe.
Yes, and they moved away, so all the rest of the turtles at the dockers.
The end.
Yeah, that's where we're going to leave you. Final happy thoughts about turtles.
Reminder that all of the content here is our personal opinions.
Except for the facts. The facts are facts.
The facts are facts, true. But these are opinions. If you disagree, that's fantastic.
It's your prerogative. Tell us what you think in the comments.
Yes, let us know. So that's our show for this week. Thank you all for listening.
And thank you to our editor, Linda, for editing this into a cohesive mess.
And we'll see you next time.